Hi everyone, it's me Carla. Welcome to Beyond the Veil. This video we're going to be talking a little bit about ego, imagination, and intuition. How to differentiate between all of them. At the beginning of the video you will all be able to see that I put up the proper definitions, I guess you could say, to each one. So this should be an interesting topic. So I'm just going to wing it as usual and go with my own experiences. And I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you're all having a super awesome day. And we're going to get started here. Okay, so your ego represents reason and common sense. Common sense. Daily thinking, reasoning, like how to solve a math problem, how to do most anything in your daily, everyday life. But I'm going to try my best to tell you how your ego can come into play big time. So just bear with me. I'm going to go through each one first, and then we're going to put them all together as far as trying to do something psychically and show you how they can all interact and help or hinder you. Okay, so your imagination is when you have an ability to form thoughts, senses, create anything inside of your mind. Just anything. Imagination, you can use it to create anything you want to. Say you're sitting at work and you want to just feel totally relaxed and at peace, and that spot for you is at the beach, and you're just sitting there, and in your mind while you're working you're imagining yourself laying on the beach, listening to the ocean waves and feeling the sun beat down on you. That's your imagination. Now for my most favorite part in the world, intuition. Your intuition is a clear knowing. You just automatically, you're doing something and automatically something comes over you and you just know, whether it be something good or something bad, or say you meet a person and you just know right off the bat what kind of person they are. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about ego, imagination, and intuition. I'm going to put the three together and try to share some of my experiences for you. And I think it's going to be really good to learn how to decipher between the three so that you can further progress yourself spiritually. Thanks. So for all of you that are just starting out with trying to open up psychically, trying to open your third eye, trying to reach inside of you and go with your intuition and learn more and see more in your mind, see more outside of yourself, feel the energy, feel your surroundings. I really hope that this video helps you a lot. So let me just think a minute. Give me a second. You know me, I like to dilly-dally around a little bit, so we got to make this a little bit comical and funny. I'm really not sure what I'm going to say next. I've got so many stories I could tell you guys as far as when I first started out and my ego coming into play, and you wonder if it's your ego or your imagination, or you wonder if it's right, if it is your intuition and you have that connection with spirit. And I am going to try my bestest to help you guys figure it out. Okay, so say you are trying to do a practice photo or name or exercise on Beyond the Veil, and you have cleared your mind, or if you're just doing like a meditation, you've cleared your mind and you're trying to connect with spirit. How do you know when it's your intuition kicking in versus your imagination or your ego? I know for those of you starting out, we have suggested some of you do the guided meditations, and in that they'll get you to imagine certain things, whether it be imagine going up a stairway that's leading straight up, and at the top is a brilliant white light. And on those guided meditations, they're getting you to imagine, because getting to the stage of your intuition, when you're first learning out, if it just hadn't come to you natural and you don't just have that clear knowing of everything, which most of us don't. Most of us have specialties in our psyche, but we're still trying to develop a lot of things too. So everybody starts different. But anyway, you know how I ramble on. So a lot of the guided meditations, when you're first starting out trying to learn to connect with spirit, are getting you to use your imagination, and that is good. That is a good thing to be able to try to connect, or when you're meditating, try to connect, try to open your third eye up, because you're imagining different scenarios that they're guiding you through. But where the imagination comes into play with your intuition, there's a fine line, because when spirit does connect with you, I think a lot of the guided meditations are there to, show you things to look for that those particular people that have put those meditations out have experienced. And so they're wanting you to imagine it, to get on that level of your inner knowing, your intuition, your higher self, your God source. Because your intuition and your higher self will be showing you images inside of your mind, behind your eyes, right in here. Inside of your mind, you'll start to see and hear images. And at first, you will think, am I imagining this? When you think, am I imagining this, that is your ego coming in. Because you may start to see, and your ego is clear thinking, solving problems. Remember back to the definitions I put up earlier. So I will just try my best to give you an example of my very first experience. And, it's kind of difficult to explain. So I know the best way for me to explain things to people is just tell you stories from my life, some of my first experiences of what I was going through, because every single one of us, I don't care whether we reawakened at birth or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, on up. It doesn't matter, because we're all alike. And so I'm just going to go with my very first spiritual encounter with you, and I'm going to try to tell you how I had several times before been in groups such as this one, and how I started out, somebody put a picture up there and just said whether this person was living or passed. Okay, so just back up on that one. But, all you guys know that I had a knowing about things when I was younger. I could see auras and all of that. But I did not reawaken until my father passed. Reawakening means I did not remember or put these stories together. I knew what happened when I was a child, but I didn't know that that's what it was. And I did not realize that until my dad passed, and I made it a mission in life to be able to connect with him and So I got on this journey, just like all of you guys. Some of you guys are not here because you lost a loved one, but I guarantee you that there's a lot of us that are. But then I also guarantee you that most of us have always, whether people admit it or not, something has happened from their life as a child growing up to where there is something that they knew or they just remembered. If they're on this path now, they are. Something clicked with them back then and they're just coming around to it now. But anyway, needless to say, you guys, when I got in these groups and I came in not knowing anything, I could not tell you the hours of the days I have put in learning and researching and studying and just taking everything in that I could take in. And I really have committed myself to this. Every day, I'm telling you, every single day for hours and hours and hours until I would just sit here and I really just was just so tired I'd just almost be asleep. But it has taken that and I have learned so very much. It has just become my passion in life because there is no greater reward to me than being able to help someone, especially help someone with messages from someone they lost. So, long story short, my point, I got in these groups, they put a picture up, I wouldn't know about Claire's, and I wouldn't know, I would look at the picture, but I really didn't know how to, clear my mind. I didn't really know how to use my ego, imagination, and intuition. I didn't know how to bring it all together, nor how to decipher. So I did like several probably do, and I'm just being totally straight up with you. When I started out like that, I learned and I read everyone's comments and I listened and I watched. But when those pictures would come up, I guessed a lot of times. I guessed and I would be wrong. And I would be so frustrated because I thought I was connecting, but I hadn't really learned to yet. So for some, my point is it could come very quickly. For some, it could take a while. I am a Gemini, and our minds just race all the time. It's like, we get something on our mind, and we're gonna do it and get it done, and we're always thinking about new possibilities, new ways to do things, and it is so hard to steal my mind. But I've mastered that now, so that's a good thing. So you guys will get there. I cannot stress enough how important it is to meditate and clear your mind. That's the only way you're going to get there. So you take that to heart. Meditate and clear your mind. You got to. You got to connect with you. You got to connect with, find your heart space. So here we go. My story of the very first time that I actually connected with Spirit, and I was able to have that connection for several minutes. It was a guy that had passed away from cancer, and his wife had posted his picture in hopes of hearing from him. And the very first time was I could see in my mind buttons, like buttons on a shirt or whatever. I didn't know what it meant, and I second guessed myself. I was thinking, buttons. But every time you let the left side try to jump in with the right side, your ego jump in with your intuition, your ego is going to knock it out of balance. So you've got to try to not second guess yourself. Anyway, somehow I got my intuition back on that button story, and I put it down, and they had all gone somewhere that weekend, and a friend of this man's had lost a button off of his shirt or his pants or something. I don't even remember the story as far as that first story. But it was something to do with buttons. And that was his way of coming through, validating that he was there with them that weekend. So the moral of my story: ego, imagination, and intuition. When you have learned to clear your mind and meditate, and whether you're doing a reading or a meditation, and inside of your mind, you start to see a picture play out, maybe a person. You try to talk to that person. You try to say, what's your name? How did you pass? Can I deliver any messages for you? And you look at every detail on that person, what their eyes are shaped like, and what their facial features look like, if they have on a particular piece of clothing. You look at that and get it all, keep it all there. So when you are done and you give your reading, all that stuff is so important. Spirit will not show or tell you anything unless it is of the utmost importance. And it may not make sense to you, but I guarantee you, whoever you're giving that message to, it will make 100% complete sense. Spirit is never wrong. We may be wrong sometimes because that's when we let our ego jump into us. Say, for instance, names are so... I'm pretty good with names. I'm pretty good with picking up names, hearing names from Spirit. But sometimes the best way to explain it to you is Spirit will come through and say the lady's name is Magda. I might hear a muffled sounding Mary or something like that, and I'm like, okay, that's Mary. That sounded like Mary. Sometimes it's hard for them to get the vibration out enough to do that, I think, or it's me, the way I perceive it. I'm pretty good with it, but sometimes you'll see when I do a reading like that, I'll say M name, Mary or Martha or something like that. But when that's happening, don't jump in and let your ego jump in and second guess yourself like, no, that wasn't somebody's name. I'm just imagining that. I know in one of my other videos I talked about, I had this dream one night, but I was awake. I can do lucid dreaming. I do it very often to where I dream most nights and I can be present in my dream. It's like I'm awake, but I'm really asleep, but I am totally coherent and aware of everything going on in my dream. And I can interact in my dream, so to speak. But anyway, I dreamed about these two dancing parrots, and I felt like they were literally pet parrots of somebody's. And I thought, dancing parrots, dancing parrots. And I just got compelled to post it to the group. There wasn't a picture or anything, but I felt like it belonged to a member of the group that I was in. And I said what I had saw in my dream was the two dancing parrots, and they were like, you could hear music, and they were whistling and dancing. You could tell they were dancing. And shortly after I posted that, but I second guessed myself because I almost didn't put that up there. I almost didn't even make the post. That was my ego jumping in like, these people are going to think I'm crazy, putting something on a page about dancing parents and thinking that it went to somebody in that group. But it hadn't been 5 or 10 minutes, and a girl emailed me back regarding that post and said that it was her dad or her uncle had two parrots that loved to sing and dance, and she knew that was a message from them, saying hello to her. So never second guess yourself. Once you learn to clear your mind and you meditate and you start getting a picture in your head, give it to the reader, give it to the sitter, whoever you're giving that reading to. Write it down. If it's a meditation and you're getting this coming to you, it could be something that's about to happen, a future event, or it could be something that happened. But you'll start to see. Don't let your ego come into play. Good luck, everybody. You're doing a wonderful job. Love and light. Hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please leave them below. Have a beautiful day. Bye.